Coal Black was hammering the last board across the barn door when his son's voice cut through the wind, high, urgent, afraid. "Papa, someone's out there." Coal's head snapped up. Snow was already falling sideways, turning the world into a white blur. The blizzard had come faster than the almanac predicted. He squinted toward the fence line where 8-year-old Ben was pointing. A dark shape lay crumpled in the snow. "Mary, get inside!" Cole shouted to his daughter. 10-year-old Mary grabbed Ben's hand and pulled him toward the cabin. Cole ran, his boots sinking deep with every step. The cold bit through his coat like teeth. The figure was a woman. She wore fringed buckskin, now soaked and torn. Her face was pale as the snow beneath her, framed by long, black hair. Cole dropped to his knees, pressing his fingers to her throat. A pulse, faint but steady. "Thank God," he muttered. He lifted her, she was lighter than a sack of grain, and he carried her toward the cabin. The wind howled like wolves. Snow stung his eyes. By the time he kicked the door open, his arms were shaking. "Papa, is she dead?" Mary's voice trembled. "Not yet. Get blankets." Ben, stoke the fire. The children moved fast. Cole laid the woman on the floor near the hearth. Her lips were blue. He worked quickly, modestly removing her wet outer garments and boots, wrapping her in quilts. Mary brought hot broth. Ben fed wood into the fire until it roared. Cole checked for injuries, bruises on her arms, a scrape on her temple. Nothing broken, just the deadly cold. "Who is she?" Mary whispered. "Don't know, honey," Cole said, his voice a low rumble. "But the land don't get to decide who lives and dies." "We do." He sat back on his heels, studying her face. She was young, maybe 25. Her hands were strong, capable. Not a town woman. Not from around here. The wind screamed. Snow piled against the windows. The blizzard had sealed them in. Near midnight, the woman's eyes fluttered open, dark as storm clouds, and locked on Cole's face. She tried to sit up. He steadied her with a hand on her shoulder. "Easy now. You're safe." Her voice came out raw, barely a whisper. "Please, you can't tell anyone I am here." Then her eyes rolled back and she slipped into unconsciousness again. Cole stared at her, then at the door, then back at her face. Trouble. Definitely trouble. But he'd never turned away someone in need. He wasn't about to start now. She woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of children's quiet chatter. The cabin was small but clean. Sunlight streamed through a single window. The storm had passed, leaving the world buried in white. She was lying on a cot near the fire. 2 children stared at her from across the room. A girl with braids and a boy with wide, curious eyes. "You're awake," the girl said. "Papa said you might sleep for days." The man, Cole, stood at the stove. He turned, a cup in hand. "Easy. Don't sit up too fast." She ignored him and pushed herself up. The room spun. He poured coffee into a tin cup and brought it to her. "Drink this." Slow, she took it with both hands, the warmth spreading through her fingers. "Thank you." "You got a name?" he asked, his voice gentle. She hesitated. "Tala. Coal Black." "These are my kids, Mary and Ben." Tala studied them. The girl had her father's steady gaze. The boy had a shy smile. Both were dressed in patched but clean clothes. They were loved. "Where were you headed?" Cole asked. Another lie. "Meeting my people." Got separated in the storm. Cole didn't press. He figured a person's business was their own out here. "Storm snowed us in for at least 3 more days," he said. "You're welcome to stay till the pass clears." Tala looked around the modest one-room cabin. A wedding ring sat on the mantel next to a faded photograph. No wife in sight. "I don't want to be a burden." "You're not." We've got food and space. Cole handed her a plate of biscuits and jerky. Eat. You need your strength. Over the next 3 days, Tala learned the rhythm of the shy rancher's life. Cole woke before dawn to tend the animals. Mary helped with cooking. Ben hauled water. Tala tried to help, but her skills were not made for a settler's cabin. Her first attempt at kneading bread resulted in a sticky, unworkable mess. Mary, bless her heart, patiently showed her how. You ain't never done this before, Mary asked, surprised. My work is different, Tala admitted. At night, after the children were asleep in the loft, Cole and Tala sat by the fire. He carved small wooden animals, she sharpened his tools with a stone she kept in a small pouch, her movements deft and sure. You have kind children, she said quietly. Cole's knife paused. They're all I have left. My wife, she died 3 years ago, bringing Ben into the world. I didn't get the doctor fast enough. Tala's throat tightened. That is not a burden you should carry alone. He looked at her, then, really looked. Something passed between them, a recognition of shared pain. Call me Cole. The next morning, the sun broke through the clouds. The world was blinding white. Cole shoveled a path to the barn. Tala insisted on helping. You're a quick study, Cole said, almost smiling. I'm motivated, she replied, breathless. I never want to feel helpless again. That afternoon, Ben spotted riders on the ridge. 3 men, their horses dark against the snow, rifles visible in their saddle scabbards. Tala's face drained of all color. No, she whispered. They found me. Cole stepped in front of her, his body a wall. Who are they? Her voice shook. Men who work for Agent Thorne. He wants to control my people. Cole Black had faced down wolves and droughts, but the cold calculation in the lead rider's eyes was something different. The men stopped at the property line, their presence a silent threat. The leader was older, with a smile that never reached his eyes. Good morning, he called out. We're looking for an Apache woman. Name's Tala. She's the daughter of a chief. There's concern she's been led astray. Cole felt Tala's hand grip his arm. She's resting, Cole said evenly. Not in a state for travel. The man's smile widened. With all due respect, sir, that ain't your concern. We're acting on behalf of Agent Thorne of the Bureau. He has her tribe's best interests at heart. Tala stepped forward, her chin lifted despite her fear. I am of my own mind. I am not going with you. The rider's eyes narrowed. Tala, your father's treaty with the government is under review. Until a new chief is settled, Agent Thorne is the legal guardian of your people's affairs. That includes you. I am not property, she said, her voice ringing with steel. Cole had heard enough. Gentlemen, the lady has made her wishes clear. Time for you to move along. The lead rider studied Cole, taking in the worn coat, the calloused hands, the modest ranch. We'll be back. With the sheriff and the proper paperwork. Mr. Black, you're interfering with federal business. I'd advise you to reconsider. They turned their horses and rode off. Cole closed the door. Mary and Ben stood frozen by the table. Tala sank into a chair, shaking. I'm sorry, she whispered. I've brought this to your door. Cole knelt in front of her. Who is Agent Thorne? She looked up, her eyes filled with a fire he hadn't seen before. He is the government agent for my tribe. My father, the chief, died a month ago. Thorne wants to marry me to a man he controls, a man who will sign away our people's land, our water rights, for Thorne's profit. He wants our home. Why did you run? Because he would have forced me. Locked me away until I agreed. I escaped 2 weeks ago. I've been running ever since, trying to reach the elders of the northern clans for help. Mary moved closer, slipping her small hand into Tala's. You're safe here. No, sweetheart, Tala's voice was raw. I'm not. And now you aren't either. Cole stood, his jaw set. He looked at his children. Mary, Ben. Sometimes doing what's right means standing against the crowd. You two understand. They nodded, solemn as little judges. He turned to Tala. You're not going anywhere. If they come back, they'll have to go through me. You don't know what he's capable of. Maybe not, Cole replied. But I know what I'm capable of when someone needs protecting. That night, Tala found Cole on the porch. He sat on the steps despite the cold, his rifle across his knees. You should be inside, she said. Can't sleep, she sat beside him. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. Cole was quiet for a long time. My wife's name was Martha. She was good and kind, and she didn't deserve to die alone. When she was gone, I made a promise. I'd protect what was mine, and I'd help anyone who needed it. The world's got enough cruelty without me adding to it. Tala's voice broke. You're a good man, Cole Black. I'm a stubborn one, he said. They sat in silence, shoulders almost touching. A wolf howled in the distance. For the first time in years, Tala didn't want to run. She wanted to stay and fight. By the time Cole brought the children to town for supplies, the whole of Redemption Creek knew about the Apache woman on his ranch. Whispers followed them down Main Street like a cold wind. Women clutched their children closer. Men stared. The storekeeper, old Henderson, who'd always been friendly, now counted change without meeting Cole's eyes. Heard you got company out at your place, Henderson said, his tone carefully neutral. That's right, Cole said. Folks are talking, Henderson mumbled. Saying it ain't proper. You might want to think about appearances. Cole set his coins firmly on the counter. I'll think about what's right. At church, it got worse. Families moved their children away when Mary sat down. One woman pulled her daughter aside with a pointed look. Mary came out with red eyes. Ben's jaw was clenched, just like his father's. What happened? Cole asked, though he already knew. Emma's mama said we're living with a savage, Mary whispered. Said you've lost your mind. Cole's hands tightened on the reins. He knelt in the street, not caring who watched. Listen to me. What we're doing is right. We're protecting someone who needs help. You don't ever apologize for that. Even if people hate us? Ben asked. Especially then. Cole's friend Isaac Carson caught up with them outside town. Isaac ran a horse ranch 5 miles west and had been Cole's closest friend for 15 years. People are talking, Isaac said without preamble. Let them talk. It's more than talk, Cole. Agent Thorne sent word to the territorial governor. The sheriff's coming with federal papers. Isaac's face was grim. You sure you want this fight? Cole looked at his children, then back at Isaac. I'm sure. Isaac studied him, then nodded slowly. All right, then. I'm with you. But it's going to get ugly. As Cole's wagon rolled back to the ranch, a small figure waited by the road. Miss Albright, the school teacher. She was unmarried, with kind eyes and a spine of steel. Mr. Black, she said, approaching the wagon. I heard what happened at church. I am ashamed of this town. Cole tipped his hat. Appreciate that, Miss Clara. I want you to know, I've seen your character. If you say this woman needs help, I believe you. She handed Mary a small package. Books for you, dear. Don't let small minds make you feel small. Mary clutched the books like treasure. At the ranch, Tala was waiting on the porch. When she saw their faces, she knew. They turned on you. Cole helped the children down. Some did. Some didn't. That's how it goes. I should leave. No, Cole's voice was firm. You stay. We'll weather this. That night, after the children were in bed, he found her staring out the window. I'm destroying your life, she said. Cole shook his head. No. You're showing me I still have one worth living. A sound from outside, hoofbeats. Grant grabbed his rifle. Through the window, they saw a single rider approach. Not Thorne's men. It was an Apache warrior, young and grim-faced. He stopped at the edge of the yard and raised a hand in peace. He brought a message from the elders. They had received Tala's plea. They were gathering, but Thorne had men watching the passes. It would take time. The warrior handed Tala a leather-wrapped bundle. For the fight to come, he said, before melting back into the darkness. Inside, Tala unwrapped the bundle. It was her father's lance. A symbol of leadership? A sign that her people had not abandoned her? Holding it, she no longer looked like a woman running from her past, but a leader preparing for war. Healing came through labor. Thorne had delivered his message through his men. Legal papers were coming. The law was on his side. He'd proved Tala was a runaway, a ward of the state, and that Cole was a criminal harboring a fugitive. Then he'd return, with a posse, and take what was his. But life on the ranch didn't stop for threats. Tala insisted on earning her keep. She taught Ben how to track deer and read the signs of the weather. She showed Mary which wild plants were medicine and which were food. She knew the land in a way Cole, for all his years working it, never could. He, in turn, taught her to mend a fence and calm a spooked horse with a steady hand. Each task was a small victory against the helplessness that had threatened to define her. Evenings became sacred. After the children slept, Cole and Tala sat by the fire. He whittled, and she would tell him stories of her people, of the stars and the seasons. "Tell me about your father," Cole said one night. Tala's hand stilled. "He was a great chief. He believed we could live alongside the white man, if we were strong and smart. When he died in a hunting accident, Thorne saw his chance. He said I was too emotional, too young. He told everyone I needed his guidance. How did you get away?" "A cousin who serves as a scout for the army. He left a horse for me and created a false trail. I rode for 3 days before the blizzard caught me." Tala looked up, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "You saved my life, Cole." "You're saving mine, too," he said quietly. "I've been dead for 3 years, just going through the motions. You remind me there's more to life than just surviving." They leaned closer, the space between them charged with unspoken feeling. A cry from the loft shattered the moment. "Papa!" They rushed to the children. Ben was tangled in blankets, gasping from a nightmare. Cole gathered him close, but it was Tala who began to hum a soft, wordless Apache lullaby. Ben's breathing slowed, his eyes closing. Mary watched from her bed, smiling. The next day, they worked together repairing the chicken coop. Tala handed him nails, he taught her to hammer straight. Mary brought them water. Ben chased chickens, laughing. For a moment, under the vast Montana sky, it felt like family. That night, a rider appeared on the ridge, a motionless silhouette against the moon. One of Thorne's spies. The fight was coming. The day Agent Thorne arrived, the sky was a cold, hard blue. He didn't come alone. The sheriff, a man named Gable, rode beside him, along with a dozen deputized men from town, their faces a mixture of grim duty and greedy excitement. Cole met them on the porch, his rifle held loosely in his hands. Tala stood just inside the doorway, with Mary and Ben behind her. "That's far enough, Thorne," Cole said, his voice calm. Thorne, a man with a politician's smile and a predator's eyes, dismounted. "Black, this is over. I have a federal warrant for the return of this woman to my custody. She is a ward of the United States government." Sheriff Gable shifted uncomfortably. "Cole, he's got the paperwork. It's all legal. Don't make this harder than it has to be." From the tree line to the west, another figure emerged. Isaac, rifle in hand. Then another, Miss Albright, carrying not a weapon, but a heavy ledger book. A few other ranchers who owed Cole their loyalty appeared, taking up quiet positions along the fence. They were outnumbered, but they were not alone. "This woman is not property," Cole stated. "She's a guest in my home." Thorne laughed. "Your home? This piece of dirt? I'm offering you a chance to walk away. Give me the girl, and I'll forget you interfered." "She is not a girl," Tala said, stepping onto the porch. She held her father's lance, its flint tip gleaming. "I am Tala, daughter of Chief Black Eagle. And you, Agent Thorne, are a thief." Thorne's face darkened with rage. "You have no proof." "Don't I?" Miss Albright stepped forward, opening her ledger. "Agent Thorne, for the past year, I have been keeping the books for the trading post. I have recorded every government annuity payment you were supposed to deliver to the Apache: blankets, flour, tools. And I have also recorded what you actually delivered, less than half. The rest you sold for profit." Sheriff Gable looked from the ledger to Thorne. "Is this true?" "It's a lie. A fabrication by a bitter spinster and a savage." Thorne snarled. "Then you won't mind if a U.S. Marshal reviews my books," Miss Albright said, her voice steady as stone. "I sent a copy with a rider to Helena 3 days ago." Thorne's composure finally broke. He drew his pistol. "Enough of this. Men, take her." But the deputized men hesitated, looking at each other, at the determined ranchers, at the sheriff whose face was now a mask of doubt. They had signed on to enforce the law, not to be a corrupt agent's private army. Suddenly, a new sound filled the air, a low, powerful chant from the hills. On the ridge where the lone spy had sat, dozens of Apache warriors now appeared, mounted and armed. They didn't draw their weapons, but their presence was an undeniable show of force. Tala's people had come. Thorne stared, his face pale. His power, built on lies and intimidation, had vanished. He was exposed, outnumbered, and utterly defeated. Sheriff Gable made his decision. "Thorne, you're under arrest for fraud and theft of government property." As his own former posse watched, the sheriff disarmed the sputtering agent. Tala ran to Cole, throwing her arms around his neck. He held her tight, breathing in the scent of pine and open air. "You came," she whispered. "Always," he replied. On the courthouse steps in town, Thorne was led away in chains. The crowd watched, some satisfied, some ashamed. Tala took Cole's hand. Mary and Ben rushed to her side. Isaac clapped Cole on the shoulder. The sun broke through the clouds. Spring was coming. Spring came late to Montana that year, but it brought more than flowers. 6 weeks after the arrest of Agent Thorne, the ranch looked different. A new room had been added to the cabin, built with Cole's hands and Isaac's help. Fresh paint brightened the shutters. Tala had returned, not as a guest, but as a partner. With the corrupt agent gone, she had been named as the liaison for her people in the new treaty negotiations, her wisdom and strength respected by both sides. She used her influence wisely, ensuring fair trade and establishing a school for the tribe's children, with Miss Albright serving as a consultant. The town's attitude had shifted. Respect replaced suspicion. Today was the wedding. It was a small ceremony held in the meadow behind the cabin, witnessed by Isaac, Miss Albright, and the children. An elder from Tala's tribe officiated, blending Apache traditions with the simple vows of the frontier. Mary held a ring of braided sweetgrass. Ben stood solemn as a judge. When the elder pronounced them bound, Cole cupped Tala's face and kissed her gently. The small crowd cheered. Afterward, neighbors, both settler and Apache, gathered for a celebration. Men shared tobacco, women laid out food, and children played together, their laughter mixing in the clean mountain air. As evening fell, the family gathered on the porch. Cole, Tala, Mary, and Ben. Ben watered a sapling he had planted near the house that morning. "So it grows with us," he'd explained. Mary read aloud from one of her new books, her voice clear and confident. Cole and Tala sat side by side, hands intertwined, watching the sunset paint the mountains gold. "I never knew home could feel like this," Tala said softly. Cole squeezed her hand. "That's because we built it together." The hard way. Mary looked up from her book. The best way, Papa. The wind carried the scent of wildflowers and fresh-cut timber. Cole thought of the blizzard that had brought Tala to his door, how close they'd come to missing each other entirely. The land teaches you, he thought. Nothing good comes easy. But what you build with your hands and your heart, no storm can take away. As darkness fell, lamplight glowed warm in the cabin windows. The family moved inside together. The door closed softly. The land settled into night, peaceful and complete. Spring had finally come. And with it, hope.